Oh, okay.
which would be quite cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up a stream on the Sim Racers Anonymous support group YouTube as well, so that should be up now. Do you want to check and make sure that's
Right,
working?
let me just have a right. What was it you set up? Sorry, on there.
A live stream on YouTube on the Sim Racers Anonymous support group, so you'll be able to
Yeah,
see
just
in
one sec.
car.
Um, yeah, it's been very quiet today. I was on for a little bit with Mick, just running around Maggiore. Ash hasn't been on for 2 days. Um, he thinks that Mick's dead pissy with him after. Well, they had another spat the other day. I think Mick goes in for the kill whenever Ash says anything, which I think makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's a little bit bullying. And at the end of the day, there was nothing in that race the other day that affected Mick, so we didn't really have justification to dive in. But I think they've also had. Uh, I think Mick's making a little bit more out of this. Ash wanted to set his own team than anything else.
Well, I think he's
Um,
quite he's he's taken it quite personally about this sort of team lead, team boss thing, isn't he? Because I think he
yeah,
does
and
kind of like that.
in all fairness, what does he actually do for the RIP?
Oh, yeah, difficult. I think he.
Right, hang on a sec. I've
Yeah,
got
go on.
this. I need to mute. Right, I've unmuted your YouTube. Are you still on the screen that says practice Paul Ricard and then the Ferrari in the right hand side?
Yeah, the start session at the bottom.
Cool. I was getting on here. I was getting the one thing that I don't know whether you can mute your mic on the YouTube because I was getting you through the YouTube view and Discord.
Ah,
So I was getting kind of like an echo because obviously, but which is fine.
you just turn down the volume
Um,
on the YouTube.
I've just muted the volume on YouTube at the moment. But yeah, I can see your um, thingy on there. Um, so I'm just looking. It doesn't look like TeamSpeak's a um, massive file 'cause it looks to be downloaded already. Um,
Right, you should be able to hear me without me but pushing the button now.
yeah,
Yeah, cool. I just
2
switched off,
seconds.
just switched
Yeah,
off the push to talk thing because that was getting a little annoying.
cool.
Right, so I need
Uh,
to download this TeamSpeak thing, don't I?
bad request. What does this mean? Something went wrong with our service while we were processing. Uh, okay. Maybe because I haven't actually right. He's put it in my downloads. I haven't opened it. I don't know what the you have exe files on Windows, don't you?
Yeah, and I've just
Yeah,
got
I haven't
mine.
actually opened the DMG on here, so it's not
Is that
actually.
what an exe file is on Mac then?
Yeah, essentially a DMG is just like the download file. So I haven't actually set it up yet, but I'm just doing that now. Because I get what Mick was saying. At the end of the day, when we're doing the even just like practice lobbies or whatever, whatever when we're racing, and especially doing the endurance races, something like TeamSpeak would be mint because then we can just keep talking all the way through without having to worry about Discord's getting a little bit um, chatting, especially if you can't talk. We can't have two Discord chats going, especially if you've got push to talk either, can you?
No, because I think, I mean, I don't have to be in the chat. It's not a requirement, but
Right.
because of where the because when the penalties are issued, they do issue a what do you call it, a visual thing, but it doesn't pop up for that long.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think I remember when I watched your last one, there
yeah,
was a thing on there, and you queried why you'd got a penalty at one point. I think.
yes, yes.
Um, so team.
Right, so mine's up. I've just downloaded it and it's up and running.
Right. TeamSpeak client. Put that in application.
Oh, it's bloody two user agreements. I'm not reading all that.
I would imagine this is one of them things that is free to use, but if you want anything other than a very, very basic, be able to talk to people, then you buy it.
Yeah. And to be honest, at the moment, at least, we only want to be able to talk to each other.
Yeah. When I get,
It does
it'd be
sound
nice,
like it's got some good. Oh,
when Mick said the other day about, you can have it so it actually sounds like a radio. Great. I actually want it to sound quite clear. And I get in some games, that would be good.
yeah,
But for this, this is just going to be a pit to car radio.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, what username do I want? Let's do that.
Right, so that should
Oh.
have shoved it in here somewhere now. TeamSpeak 3 client. Let's open that one. Yeah, Robots asked us if I want to do F1 tonight, but I can't be bothered. I need some time not racing.
It makes sense. I mean, I think. I mean, initially, I certainly was struggling a bit with not being just popping on and chatting to everyone, because obviously, if I'm practicing for this, I'm just popping onto the PC and there isn't like a chat open. But at the same time, it's meant that I've entered less races. Like I haven't been entering the Super Formula on. Is it a Wednesday or a Thursday? One of the two. Um, and yeah, just that little bit of a break has been. It's been quite nice actually. It's felt a little bit more like my like the races that I am in are a bit more of an event. So you're kind of like psyching yourself up for it as opposed to it's just another event in the week.
That I think is probably a good way of putting what I've found as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm at the point where it all just feels like a chore.
Yep.
And I'm just not looking forward to it. TeamSpeak 3 client cannot be opened because Apple cannot check if malicious software. Software needs to be updated. Contact the developer for more info. Right, okay. It's saying I can't download it because it can't be checked for malicious software.
Oh.
So, well, that's the latest version off thingy.
Right. So, oh, right, okay, so also there is a recovery key. So they're giving me like a proper full-on recovery key with pretty much every character off the keyboard.
Right.
But it does give you an opportunity to save it or copy to clipboard. So I'm going to stick it on a notepad and just stick it in the program folder, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to be screwed for this TeamSpeak thing.
Well, there's no reason why we couldn't use this channel. And with an extra set of eyes looking out for things, I mean, it'd be quite useful because I think, because obviously I'll have to be in the chat for the driver briefing.
Yeah.
Before each race, just to see what just for obviously they give a bit of a driver briefing for safety and stuff like that, and then in between races they just give a bit of a briefing in terms of, you know, if there's anything else to look for. But then obviously during the race, it'd be with an extra set of eyes, be able to keep an eye out for any penalties that are issued to number 75.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and I suppose you only really need to be in that chat if you want to query anything, do you? Was it?
Well, the only thing is that's where you report penalties. So if you see someone who is, yeah, if you notice that someone is, well, there's a particular violation for this week, which is the pit exit is right on the racing line. So they've issued like a red box that you're not allowed to enter if you're not coming out the pits,
Right.
just for a safety thing. Which is, it's been really, I've been running some practice laps this morning, and you have to kind of swing over to the right, and you hit the braking zone and the correct line literally just as you have to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's taken a little bit of practice to get that right and get me entry into the first corner right. But it makes perfect sense because obviously if cars are coming out the pits all the time, because it's a mandatory pit stop, when cars coming out the pits all the time, then you really you need to be properly on it. Um, and if cars coming out, it's just going to cause accidents.
Yeah. And that's where it's racing properly, and that's why I'm just looking forward to getting on a proper simulator and racing races that are properly organised.
Yeah,
That it's not clicky. RLH was. OFR is starting to feel like it. Um, and it's like, no, if I mean, Superbounty got away with a penalty. He overtook me under a safety car in F2 because he thought that on the restart I was going to hold him up and therefore he should be in front. So could he not serve? Could he have that 5 second penalty withdrawn? And they took it off him. It's like he overtook under a safety car. It's a basic rule, but they allowed him off the penalty, and I'm like, okay, so because he's been around a long time
yeah,
and he's part of the inner massive, he don't have to serve penalties then.
that's ridiculous.
And
That
that's
is
like that
properly
thing. That's why it
ridiculous.
just narked me that even. I mean, I've got no issue with Carl. I spoke to AJ. I've got no issue with AJ. He basically raced the same race I did. He wasn't in control when the safety car was in and out.
Hmm.
So what's the issue? He did nothing wrong. But then there was a couple of things Carl said last night that didn't add up. He was on about, well, I mean, it was random, and it's like, mate, if it was random, how come we were discussing it 10 minutes beforehand and it played out exactly as you said? But I mean, I'm over it. The result don't bother me now. It is what it is, and I'm still leading it by a point. And if
Hmm.
I beat AJ on a week on Wednesday, then I've won the thingy. But it's like it just felt like because he was 14 seconds in front, he
Yep.
pitted. I then was 8 seconds in front of him. Um, I pulled a one-stop strategy because I could, and he couldn't.
Yep.
That he came out after his second stop in like sixth place after the safety car. I'm like, and it just feels like, right, okay, you've engineered this because you think he deserved to win, so you've brought this safety car in for and I wasn't going to beat him in a one lap dash because on a one lap pace he was quicker, and it just felt like it was engineered so that he won it, and I'm like, and it just left me feeling a little bit uneasy about the whole OFR thing. It just, I don't know, they're a great bunch of lads, and I really get on with them. And Robots, Mint, Havoc, we've even had a laugh with Castle and Doc and all that lot. But it just feels a little bit clicky, and I'm like, no, if you screw up or you got your strategy up, suck it up.
Well, that should
And
be how it is. If they're really gonna get newer members in, you can't have it all clicky because newer members are going to be put off.
yeah,
And if they're clicky against such a, because the amount of drivers that well, you predominantly, but us as a group have brought to the championship, you think about if all of us lot left, I mean, what would they be left with in terms of grid sizes?
yeah. I mean, if you look at it, there's me, you, Grim, Harley, Ash, Mick, Smalley, Ben, Fuller.
Yeah,
There's 9 people.
yeah.
We nearly brought enough for a whole race just to ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
particularly with some of the grid sizes that they've got,
yeah,
because like some of the grid sizes are roughly that, aren't they?
yeah. So yeah, that's what it's just left me feel a little bit salty about it, and I'm not. The result is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was a dick move, but you get over it.
Yeah.
And like I say, leading it by a point. If AJ has a mare, he messaged me yesterday and said, "I still think you should have won it. They should have pulled the safety car back a lap." And I'm like, and that's what I said to him. It's like, mate, you raced to exactly the same situation as I did, and you did nothing wrong. you were bunched up behind the safety car and you were quicker on the one lap, but it just made the old previous 21 feel redundant.
Yep.
But it's just the way it feels like it was organised, and the fact that Kyle and Ash, not so much Robot, but Kyle and Ash are laughing about it in the stream. Kyle's like, "Oh, what about a one-lap sprint at the end?" And he starts laughing, and Ash gets his cocky, arrogant head on. Well, wouldn't that be unfortunate? And I'm like, oh, so you know exactly what you're going to do then, 10 minutes before it happens.
Yeah.